My speech will start now. So the point of this debate here is whether how to effectively stop crises happening in countries. For example, a common example of crisis happening right now can be the Rohingya crisis in Myanmar or bomb atomic in North Korea. And we don't understand how proposition is going to solve such a serious problem if they stop giving humanitarian aid to dictatorial states. Because we believe that there's nothing wrong with giving aid to dictatorial states in this current situation. So now let's move on to our responses to second speaker from proposition. First of all, they said to us they propose an alternative, which they propose that organizations, for example NGOs, might be willing to help with this crisis. But we believe that humanitarian aid can be very simple. Aid simply means help. And humanitarian aid just means that organizations, because we believe that aid organizations often work with local NGOs or community groups to help those people. So we don't think this is like a very good alternative. And NGOs are simply humanitarian aid. They're simply aid to help those dictatorial states. So we believe that this alternative is not very exclusive. I mean, not very unique on their side of the house. And like even more, they said to us how like if we give humanitarian aid to dictatorial states, then it will fulfill the motives of evil people, and there's less likely to be given to vulnerable actors. We believe that this is completely wrong since take example of the Rohingya crisis, right? Because of the people there, they being forced to flee to other countries nearby, like Bangladesh, because of the military group. So lots of organizations give them humanitarian aid, and even Bangladesh, they also give them aid, such as they give them shelter or they give them a place or a roof over their head. So, like we said, humanitarian aid can be very simple. It can be given money or given shelter for those vulnerable people to have a roof over their head and to stop the oppressive action from those dictatorial states. Let's come to the most important part, which is our constructive argument. First of all, our main argument in this speech here is that we want to prove to you how humanitarian aid can be a tool for more positive change. So, first of all, we want to talk about how it is the responsibility for those humanitarian organizations or for those humanitarian aid. Like it's their responsibility to give aid to all states and to all countries. And if we stop giving them to dictatorial states, as my first speaker has clearly mentioned, then further corruption will happen and like more people will just be oppressed since like proposition never proposed to us a very unique alternative on their side, and they never weigh on how their alternative is actually better than stop giving humanitarian aid in the first place. So moving on with this argument is we believe that it will support civil society because aid can help develop and strengthen civil society institutions that oppose dictatorial practices because it can be simple. We can fund education, health, or other essential services, and this will in turn help empower communities, encourages grassroots efforts to promote democracy and human rights. And it will also be like a way, like it's the most effective way to help people overcome this. And the impact here is that if we stop aid, it could lead to long-term negative consequences. Because without the support of international aid, then dictators they may turn to more exploitative practices. And countries like North Korea or Myanmar, it could be more isolated from humanitarian values, like if aid is stopped. So overall, we strongly oppose this motion.